Being human as praxis, the ceremony must be found.
Sylvia Wynter, writer, thinker, playwright. Born in 1928, raised in Jamaica under the British Empire as anti-colonial and organized Native uprisings set the stage for independence and for her own life. She becomes part of a generation of radical thinkers from the Caribbean, rewriting modern history from the perspective of slavery, the Middle Passage, and plantation economics. She exposed race, space, and time as products of the Western episteme, cast doubt on the very notion of man, and, alongside thinkers like Frantz Fanon, the Césaires, C.L.R. James, she sought to answer the question, what does it mean to be human?
Bios and logos, words made flesh, muscle and bone, animated by hope and desire. Belief materialized in deeds, deeds which crystallize our actualities. And the maps of spring always have to be redrawn again in undared forms.
It's the 1950s, and for Wynter, full of dreams to dance, act, and write, the place is Europe, capitals thriving with avant-garde art and culture. These are revolutionary times, and as empires fade, Wynter becomes the voice of her own country's awakening. 1962, Jamaica's independence, Kingston brimming with newfound energy. Wynter has returned, her name tied to groundbreaking journals of the time, Jamaica Quarterly, New World Quarterly, Savaku. Her plays, curtain raisers to Jamaica's new identity. Plays like A Story of Moran Bay Rebellion, Brother Man, Rockstone Anansi, Magical Morality, and Masquerade.
Ever since John Canoe Masquerade banned by law in Kingston Town, they have come all that way to dance John Canoe.
An ode, radical for its time, to the Jamaican performance tradition of John Canoe, the pre-Christian carnival practice from Africa. A folk dance widely despised and devalued, but now redeemed by Wynter to describe the Black experience, not as creolization, the popular idea at the time, where the oppressed could access emancipation through assimilation, but as indigenization, reviving slave languages, memories, and rituals that summoned gods and spirits, demons and duppies, and finding in them stories of resistance to colonial power.
Folklore is not only the relation of man to nature, but of man to himself. Folklore was the cultural guerrilla resistance against the market economy.
For decades, Wynter was overlooked, but she continued to carve out her thought and break ground. The ground, the earth. In her essay, Novel and History, Plot and Plantation, she pitted plantation systems against the slaves as provision grounds. Plots given to them to cut costs, but where indigenous and African food began to grow outside capitalist time. Yams, cassava, and sweet potatoes. Wynter imbued the provision grounds with a redemptive power. Sites of other knowledges, marginal voices, from Rastafarians to working class women, to the wretched of the earth.
Now, maroon people come like the rest of us from another world called Africa, from a different page that turn from the one we live now.
For Wynter, the page that we live in now is part of an epic story of modernity, a defining moment in Europe's autobiography, a coming-of-age story where the dark superstitions of the Middle Ages were now overcome, illuminated by science, modern rationalism, and Western secular humanism. Yet, it was a story only half told.
It is the story in which the idea of humanism, of its de-godding of our modes of self-inscription, first erupts, where man and its human others, that is, Indians, Negroes, natives, Jews, and Muslims, are first invented.
It was a new philosophical concept, the human, one presented as timeless, but in fact constructed by colonial power. Winter historicizes the human. She shows the man to be an idea, a self-serving narrative, a master text built by Western knowledge systems, only to cast Black people as inferior, as backward, and to disqualify them as racialized others, outside of humanity.
Transformed meanings have led to transformed matter, to a transformed mode of experiencing the self.
Winter is a radical thinker. She questions the imperialist concept of humanity based on the ideal of the white man. She seeks not a new definition. She asks a question. What does it mean to be human beyond Western science and knowledge? Anti-bourgeois, anti-colonial. She invites us to imagine, after man, towards the human.
Is me, after all these years, driver writes me out of the play. Blot out my part, my scene, so I write a different end, Brainsy, to a different play.